So after about a week and a half on mouse and keyboard, I got my first solo dub while using mouse and keyboard. I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons switching as we go through this video, but so far I would say the switch is worth it. A big thing that I've noticed is that flicking is easier on mouse, but you must hit your shots because you have no aim assist. And you think that's not a big deal as a controller player, but as someone who has played on controller almost all of his life, aim assist is everything. You may think it isn't, like I was thinking at the time, but it makes so much difference. It literally leads your shot, and even with recoil patterns the way they have them set up in Call of Duty, it's either up to the right, up to the left. Most of them don't, deviate from that path. So even if you have very little recoil control, you aim down at the waist, it'll go straight up to the head. So honestly, anyone who says that aim assist isn't busted after trying, mouse and keyboard is kind of nuts. And anyone who hasn't tried mouse and keyboard and yells at mouse and keyboard players because they think they have it easy, they're honestly wrong. It takes a lot of time to, be able to get to the skill that you see some of the other people on mouse and keyboard to get at. Like, it took them time. The thing I've been doing to improve my aim and my ability is I use Aim Labs, which you can find in Steam, and it's a phenomenal app. Like, there's been a couple other YouTubers that have recommended it, and I honestly wholeheartedly recommend it. It has a bunch of different, programs, different tracking, programs, just to help you learn how to hit your shots, track enemies, and just overall improve your aim. The biggest con I will say at the beginning is going to be movement. It's going to take a lot of time to get down, and I don't have it down yet. It's only been a week and a half. So for right now, I have to play a lot slower, more tactical, which is tough for me because I'm used to just running and gunning. But I have seen an increase in kills on average. But as far as placement, I'm not getting in top 10 every game now, but I'm getting more consistent kills, and, it's honestly upping my KD, which I didn't expect. Honestly, was waiting for a whole month of, KD dropping and big sadness, but honestly, it's just been improving. But a super big handicap is going to be tracking in the beginning. Some mouse keyboard players, they'll look back on people who are new and be like, oh my god, you can't hit your shots, you can't track, it's so much easier on mouse. But when you're first starting, getting used to the fact that aim assist is not dragging you to the target, literally dragging you like a lost puppy across the map, it's way harder to hit it. You're gonna have to really keep your aim right on it as it's moving along, and it's kind of hard to hit those people on the ATVs and cars. And anyone at about 200 meters with an AR is going to be a pretty difficult shot right now when you're starting out. One thing that's tough after switching, you'll see the flaws in the game even more after learning precision shooting. Last night I was in a game, I was hitting a guy in the upper chest with a higher damage gun, and he was hitting me with a ground loot striker in the leg and instantly killed me with full armor. So I can say without a doubt in my mind now that they buff shots in-game if you're against a weaker player. And honestly, I can't wait for the day another BR comes out, because maybe I'll switch to it, and maybe Activision will get their shit together and fix their busted game. And, maybe add an anti-cheat, because I don't know if you guys heard, but that, a Twitch Rivals tournament just happened for 250k, and it was full of cheaters that, which is crazy, because isn't cheating against TOS on Twitch? I guess not. I honestly don't understand how this continues to be a thing. And then supposedly, I've been hearing around that Activision has said that it's literally impossible to implement it. And honestly, it's impossible for them to implement it because the person that works for them on the inside is the one who released the codes. So, get your shit together? I don't know what to say other than that. But aside from all that, if you do make the switch, it's going to be rough and extremely frustrating at times. Even more when you realize the gift that aim assist gave you when you were on controller. But there's a ceiling on controller, a very slow ceiling. But on mouse and keyboard, the ceiling is super high, almost sky the limit. Sky's the limit. But, stick with it, and it'll come with time. Don't give up. Like, I almost gave up. Like, I no joke, like 3 days in, was losing my mind, yelling at my buddies. I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. This is terrible. Like, why am I doing this? And they're like, chill, bro, chill. And I'm like, nah, this is awful. And I just kind of stuck with it, even though, you know, because, you know, I guess I hate myself and I like to be miserable. But I stuck with it, and it actually paid off. Like, I was super surprised that I was like pulling off a solo dub. Like, though it was a low and slow solo dub, it's still a dub either way, you know. And it was all on mouse and keyboard after a week and a half. If anyone is interested in a sense breakdown, DPI settings, and other miscellaneous settings, let me know in the comments below. There's a lot I have learned so far from trial and error, and with the help of some friends who have been on mouse and keyboard for a long time. And I think I got it figured out, at least for myself. But the whole transition is an experience, and you kind of have to fiddle with it so it fits you. But sometimes it's good to have, you know, some groundwork, you know, some ideas, you know, from someone else to kind of give you like a baseline to try and start out and fiddle with things. And there's some things that you may not realize that you have to adjust, that are deeper in your computer settings. So let me know if that's something you want to see, because I can definitely, you know, make a short little video for that. Also, a little off topic, but I heard the growl was back, right? So I decided to throw it on, you know, in this game to try it out. And I will say, you know, I think they, you know, definitely buffed it. It was hitting shots kind of like it used to. It was very surprising. And without a doubt, 100%, it slaps again. So I will leave a little class setup towards the end of the video. So check that out if you don't, you know, use the growl often or have already a class setup that you know that works. But I would definitely start running that again. I feel like the Modern Warfare ARs right now are really balanced. I wish that all the Cold War guns would be balanced instead of stupid and broken, but, you know, they gotta, you know, make money somehow, right? You know, because 76 billion or whatever it was this year wasn't enough, right? A super big pro on mouse and keyboard is keybinds. If you have a mouse with extra buttons, you can set it to have melee, you know, tactical, lethal, you know, add those to your mouse, and it really comes down to preference and how you want it to work for yourself. But being able to map your buttons to a bunch of different keys can really come in clutch and make, you know, your transition easier. Also, a big tip would be to pace yourself. My hands, you know, within the first couple of days would get a little shaky after a couple hours of playing, you know, trying to learn. So an extended time, you know, playing is not exactly good for you, because you could also cause yourself to get like carpal tunnel if you're not knowing how to position your hands correctly, or if you have like a wrist guard. And I know this all sounds super lame, but it's kind of important, because you don't want to actually affect your, you know, your actual life and, you know, your job and things like that just because you're trying to learn how to play mouse and keyboard on a video game. So make sure you're careful and pace yourself, because you don't want to like cause any like issues or damage to your hands. So this is a good example of what I was saying earlier. Tracking a target is a little hard to do at first. Also, especially when the game stutters and the person's lagging. Like, you know, that kind of totally messes up you lining it up. Like, I didn't realize, I forgot the guy was lagging that hard at first, but yeah, you're gonna have to like learn how to just track that, and you're gonna have to keep up with the speed of the car, and that's gonna be tough, especially if you want to hit a solid shot, not just a body shot. Like, if you want to hit a headshot, that's gonna be real difficult at first. But with time, you know, I'm sure I'll get it down, and I'm sure you will get it down if you try. So while you're learning, a big thing is going to be making sure you do a good circle rotation and kind of plan ahead. Take a couple seconds, stop in a building, you know, look at the map, because I'm not going to lie, I don't care what anybody says. You know, people will probably tell me I'm wrong, but using the map on mouse and keyboard is a pain in the ass. Like, you got a tab, and then you're looking at the map, and you got to move it around with your mouse, you know, hold down to like pull across the map. And honestly, I think it takes too much time. I'm not fast enough with it right now. I'm sure at some point I will, but as of right now, I literally got to go into a building, lay down, hope that no one kills me, and like look at the map to plan out my position. So as you're learning, just take your time. Take the time to go into a building, get some cover, check the map, plan your rotation, ping it out, because you're going to need to do that, because just, you know, running around aimlessly, you're not going to win. You're going to have to really plan a lot more than you may have had to in the past. So I take a prone position over near this house because I just, assume sometimes, I try to predict what enemy movement's going to be. I would think someone is camping in this house, so I wanted to have view of that window so that when the gas comes, they're going to hop out that window and I'd be able to clip them like that. And I was really hoping someone wasn't going to come out that window because I really wasn't trying to deal with that, which it ended up being, not the case. They were not in that window and they were already up in the hills, which is fine. So I take a slow rotation up there and I let it play out a little bit. One thing I've learned from playing other BRs and, just trying to get wins instead of like trying to look like a superstar, sometimes patience is better. If you see a guy off in the distance, don't shoot at him. You're going to alert the other couple players that are left that you're, nearby or, close to their position. So let them fight it out. It's better to have a 1v1 instead of a 1v3 or a 1v2. So let them fight it out, let them pick each other off, and then you come in and clean up the mess.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. Closing in.
Okay, right here we have our class set up for the Growl, and just check it out. And I would say definitely use this. This is the best setup you can have for the Growl. There is no other good setup, like other than dropping the sight and maybe adding, laser or making it fully loaded. Other than that, there is no better setup. This is the setup. Anyone will tell you it. So run this. If you don't run the Growl, this is the setup you're gonna run. There is your biggest pro of mouse and keyboard. I see him, he sees me too, but I'm able to flick and hit him first before he can even react. That is the biggest pro of being on mouse and keyboard. Especially if you're in the end circle. If it's a 1v1, you could just flick right to the target. Unless they shoot you in the back, you should win that 1v1 every time. I hope you found this video helpful. As I continue forward with my mouse and keyboard training, I will let you know any things that I find or any helpful tips that I have. And I will chronicle that in a whole different playlist and series for mouse and keyboard. So if you want to see something like that, maybe consider liking and subscribing. We're trying to grow here. I would like to get 100 subs in the next 3 months. And if we can get that, that'll be super great. And as always, have a great day.